Greetings, salutations. What's up, family? Look, I haven't forgot about y'all. We letting y'all enjoy basketball season for a few weeks, get right back to spring football, and try to get on our guest list right. But talking about our guest list, right? Hopefully you feel a little boosted. Hopefully you got a little excitement going on. If you don't recognize a little mantra to the person we have on the show, so we have somebody very important to the FAMU Rattler Booster, new Rattler Booster president, Zach Ansley. So if you've never seen him in the crowd with his bullhorn, he's exciting everybody, not just you. He's also in the student section. He goes everywhere, and he's going to tell y'all, what are some of his ideas about Rattler Boosters, how we going to revive it, keep it what it's been, and then make it better too. You already know what's up, what it's about to be. Thanks up.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started.
While our HBCUs are mostly known for immunity, they also know how to turn up.
All right, greetings, salutations again. We got a little bit of something here. Now, I know a picture says 1,000 words, but it's completely different when you got the man here himself. If y'all haven't seen Mr. Zach Ansley in the stands, he is like that in person in the stands, riling the crowd up. He is one of the people who's the catalyst for what makes Bragg what it is in the stands. So if you've never seen him in the stands with his bullhorn, he is over there encouraging you, and now he's leading you and the rest of those who are here to support Rattler Boosters. How's it going, Mr. Ansley?
Everything is fine, and thank you for having me on this evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and it's been I'm not gonna lie, I've been excited all day. It's been a great day. One, I mean, we just came off the All-Star game yesterday, so he had two of our players in there and three of our coaches. So head coach Quinn Gray was in there. Got to see his post-game comments he posted up there, and then two of our offensive coordinator and now a linebacker coach. Then Ashton Grable, he's going somewhere. I don't know where. He's going somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised like the Dolphins get him. But then ladies basketball team, they fell into the losing streak. But the guys got a dub. Much needed. I know you couldn't quite make it to the game, but how much are you enjoying kind of seeing them get some of these wins that are, you can say much needed, or however you feel about them?
I am excited about both of our teams, both women's and men. Yes, I've been disappointed at some of the games that the women have lost, very close games. We played Thursday night against Alabama A&M, and both teams fell. But I thought that both teams had an opportunity to win, particularly the boys. We lost that one. We lost that game by 3 points, man. And I don't mind losing, but I sure hate to lose. So I guess that's not true. I do mind losing. But I would rather lose by 20 points than 3. I just thought that we had an opportunity to win that game, and we didn't. But I was really, really pleased at the fact that on yesterday, the boys beat the daylights out of Alabama State. I was just a little disappointed the women lost again.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And it's one of those. It's a
But
pressure packed time.
still got we still got some opportunities to. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Now, the good news is that both the women and the men will be able to play in the SWAC tournament. And I believe that Coach Pressure will find a way to turn up the pressure. I was in church today, and a young lady stopped me as I was going out, and she says, "I know you, but you don't know me." And I kind of looked at her, and she said, "You called my name out, at most of the games? I said, I do. And she said, yes, you say. And they call her Little Mama. She is our 3-point shooter. And the reason that our girls have lost sometimes is because, as Coach Pressure said last week, we've had some injuries with some of our players. Um, but I was glad to see Lil Mama back on Thursday night and on Saturday. So I believe that we'll turn this thing around. I'm just glad that we'll be in the SWAC tournament.
I agree. I think we're gonna have a. I think that that first round, if we can get a bye, that's where we get a chance to kind of make a little noise. I don't know if we win it all this year, just because I don't know if, like you mentioned, the injuries and everything else, just the depth of the team and just the size. I think those are some of the big issues. But I hope for Coach Pressure that she can win it, because I do understand. You know, we all understand what's at stake. Your third season, your contract year. We understand what's at stake, and so we want to root for our coaches. You know, you never want the coaches thinking that the prognosticators and the talking heads aren't here to support them. Like, oh, that's why we have the Rattler boosters. That's why we have, these affinity groups, but especially the Rattler boosters here to support. And it's funny, you talked about basketball yesterday. Man, track put on a show today. My phone was blowing up all day long, just with updates and who won this race and who won that race and Kurt Dawkins this, and the guys finished in third, but the ladies finished in first. And it was a nice day. If you kind of got to watch it on Swag TV, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Ansel, you was watching. It was a nice sight to see the Rattlers come away with some trophies again.
It surely was. And we've had pretty good track season for the last 3 years. And our track coach has, let's see, 5 programs. He's got women and men indoor, women and men outdoor, and then he's got cross country. Um, and he doesn't have a whole lot of assistant coaches. I think he's got 2 assistant coaches, and he's got one coach that is kind of like a volunteer coach. And for them to have the success that they've had without that leadership that is consistent and constantly on payroll, my hat's off to him. You mentioned track. We also played softball today, and I just like to give a shout out to a couple of the Rattler boosters. Um, we had in the stands for the track. I'm sorry, for the softball game yesterday, Miss Letitia Gaines that went down and bought smoothies along with the National Alumni Association from the Miami chapter. So, Letitia, thank you for being a participant. Thank you for showing up for our Rattler softball teams yesterday and today for the golf team. And also Mr. Tom Jones, who is also a Rattler Booster board member. I just appreciate these board members that are showing up and showing out to support these Rattler athletes.
Absolutely, and that's what they're there for. And we forgot to mention Rattler baseball. I mean, they fell a little short to that team over there from Daytona, but they started out early. I ain't gonna say their name. I ain't gonna, I'm not gonna get kicked off of the internet for cussing. But baseball season started, and it's going to. I think the SWAC is going to run between those 3 teams. I think FAMU and that other school in Florida are going to be the teams who dominate. But I think Jackson State put on a little show to let you know they're going to have something to say too.
Yeah, and Jackson State is basically trying to establish themselves as the team in the SWAC. Um, and I think that they can do that as long as we allow them to do that. One of the things that the I can say is we have a very vivid support staff, not with just the boosters, but our baseball team has an alumni association that supports them very well. And we didn't play all of our players in some of the games that we played early in the season. They are not conference games. But I believe when we get in the SWAC, oh, we're going to swing that bat and we're going to strike out some players.
Oh yeah, it's going to be some fun. We also have some recruits that I mean, Coach Shoop does a great job. I'm really excited about him. But the man of the hour is here. So we kind of delayed to talk about it a little bit, but for those who don't know, those are just some of the things Rattler Boosters do. If you are so inclined, feel free. You can scan that QR code. You can become a member of the Rattler Boosters today. You can become, they have student boosters, but the lowest level starts at about $100. Or highly encourage everyone that can to become life members for seven. What's the price for life membership?
Life membership is $750, but I would say that I will say everybody can't afford to pay $750 at one time. We do have a subscribing life membership for those folk that can pay $250 for 3 consecutive years. That's a little more affordable for some of our members. But if you can't do $750, you can't do $250 for 3 years, we welcome you to please join us for $100. Now, the primary goal of the Rattler Boosters, and I have asked this of some of our board members, our primary goal is not just to support Rattler athletics. Our primary goal is to raise funds so that we can support Rattler athletics. And we cannot do that without current booster members, whether they're life, subscribing life members, or Venom members, unless we work together. Um, I go out and I try, and I have recruited all 3 factions: life, subscribing life, and regular. I haven't done as much with Venom members, but I will tell you this: if you don't ask people to join and give them a reason to join, then we cannot raise funds. And if we do not raise funds, we cannot give support to football, basketball, women and men, track and field, softball, volleyball, golf, tennis, baseball, um, bowling. You name the sport. If we don't raise funds, we can't support the teams. And little is known about this. Did you know that the athletic department cannot fund athletic sports? Not totally. What we do is we do the things that they cannot do. And the Rattler Boosters support all 14 programs that are in the athletic arena for Florida A&M. That's revenue producing sports, and we only have 3 sports that really produce revenue. They have a gate, they charge a fee to get in. That's football, basketball, women and men. Only those 3. So if we don't raise funds, those are the sports, while they are being very, very adept at bringing us some SWAC championships like golf. Golf has brought us 2 SWAC championships. Volleyball, I think 3. Softball has yet to produce one that I'm aware of. But if we don't have those other sports being able to have the acceptable and financially supported roles that they play, we won't we fail to be the best that we can be. And we know that the Rattlers are the best in the world. So we need your support.
Absolutely. And I love that you kind of mentioned some of the things Rattler Boosters do. And that was why, I keep that picture up there so folks can see the Rattler Boosters. They help with purchasing muscle milk and some of the different nutrition stuff for the university. They also, in the past, they've contributed. They're one of the groups that help pay for the cooling station for the football team. But they also help provide other nutrition for other teams, salary bonuses for coaches. So the Rattler Boosters do a lot. But a lot of times, what the Rattler Boosters do isn't always in the sunshine, right? Like they sometimes the Rattler boosters work behind closed doors so much that everybody doesn't get to see it. And so this is part of why, we need folks out there saying the Rattler booster doing this and that. But then kind of going forward, right? This is your first year as a new president, new leader of Rattler Boosters. What are some of the things that under your administration that you're looking to bring in?
Well, I've only been installed since November, late November. And you just brought up something that we have not done very well. We haven't communicated sometimes all the things that we do. The cooling zone that you just mentioned, our football team practices in from July until the first game in August, late August. And in Tallahassee, Florida, it's very hot. We have partnered with the 220 Club and paid for it's really a trailer that is air conditioned and the temperature in it is about 40 degrees. So when our players are out there practicing in July and August, they spend 5-10 minutes to cool down. That keeps them from getting heat strokes. Well, that cooling zone that's out there for about a month and a half costs about $15,000 a year. The boosters pay about $7,500. And the 220 Club, and my hats are off to them, they pay another $7,500. Well, you can't see that when you walk into the stadium, but you can see it when guys like Isaiah Major doesn't compete 4 years ago against Miami and we lost that game. I'm sorry, 4 years ago when we lost against Jackson State 7-6. Isaiah Major wasn't there because of a heat stroke. We don't have those heat strokes now. Um, we do things like muscle milk from September, October, and November. The Rattler Boosters donated about $5,300 per month. And that muscle milk, which we didn't have when I was in school, helps the players restore the energy that they lose when they're doing things like weight training, running. Um, we spend $15,000 in 3 months, but that's just those 3 months. And that muscle milk doesn't just go to football. The track teams, the basketball team, all of them take part in that. And we haven't done a great job of sending that message out. And in the last 2 months, in the last month, what I've been doing is updating our membership roster. And I've called at least 70 Rattler boosters, and I've probably got another 150 or so that I've got telephone numbers and email addresses to contact, so that once we get all of this contact information updated, I said another 150 is really about another 200. Once we get it updated, my goal is to send out at least a monthly broadcast to our Rattler Booster members, live subscribing life, annual, and venom about what we're spending your monies on. And with that being said, we can't do that if we don't have updated emails, telephone numbers, and street addresses. And that's why I'm calling just about every Rattler Booster member to say thank you, but to ensure that we've got correct information so that we can contact you and let you know what we're doing.
And I definitely am have been a recipient of one of those calls to kind of see, hey, when you coming back where you at. And I appreciate it. I'm not one of those people. I tell people quick, I don't mind somebody admonishing or calling, reaching out to me. I'd rather you reach out to me versus talk about behind my back, right? But we do have a question in the chat here. And the question was, and he spelled Ansley wrong. It's Ansley, Ansley. But Pepsi does sell muscle milk. Is there a way that Rattler boosters, and do you know, this may be a question you may or may not know the answer, if Rattler boosters can work a deal where those Pepsi products can come directly to the university from Pepsi, or is that something that we have to purchase through a third party? I believe I've heard this in a meeting before, but I'll post the question because it's been a little minute and I don't remember the answer.
Well, I can tell you that the muscle milk right now comes directly from Pepsi Corporation. It does not go through a third party. And we've been doing this now since, I believe it's like 2022 when Willie Simmons was here. And again, I do want to state that we are not the only organization that contributes to that muscle milk. And the 220 Club does also. And I just want to give them a shout out for doing that. I didn't know what muscle milk was when I joined the Rattler Booster Board in 2023. I had no idea. But after talking to the coaches, I found out that it is not a stimulant, it is a nutritional restorative uh, process that gives our student athletes a boost. And like I said, it's not just football. Every program benefits from this. But yes, it does come directly from the Pepsi Cola company, and I'm waiting on the invoice right now. Um, and we're going to pay it because we want these kids to have it. We've got, I think it's in March, we'll start our spring training. So I have already reached out to our contact with the football program to get their order in. Of course, I say football because they have more folks coming in than anybody else. But yes, we go directly through Pepsi Cola.
Okay. Awesome.
And I hope
And
I answered that
you
sufficiently.
did. You did. And one of the questions was, do we get a discount? They asked, do we get a wholesale or retail? Do we get a little discount because FAMU being a Pepsi school, or they charge us full price?
we get a price, and I don't know at this time, and I don't try to answer things that I don't know with some I think. I don't know if it's a discount. I don't know if it's wholesale or retail, but I can tell you this. That's a question that I am going to ask, but I don't know the answer to it right now. That's a very good question. I
And
doubt that it's wholesale because wholesale usually goes to a business that resells it. Now,
mhm.
that I know because Dr. Mobley taught me when I was in the School of Business and Industry, the difference between wholesale and resale.
Yes, sir.
So we don't resell it. So I doubt that it's wholesale.
Okay.
But I
And I
will
do.
ask about a discount.
Yeah, I mean, FAMU is a Pepsi school, so you hope us being a Pepsi school, we get a discount on Pepsi products. I mean. I'll leave that there. And then kind of continuing, just some of the things, we talk about Rattler boosters, what they're doing, and some of the different levels of Rattler boosters. What are some of the ways that we're looking to work on retention? Like we see that you're reaching out, you're working to what we would call it in some of these Greek organizations, reclamation. Like you're trying to bring people back, but you're also trying to keep the ones you have. What are some of the ideas or thoughts that maybe you have that you can share that maybe we might be able to see in the next coming year, as far as bringing people back and making Rattler Boosters something that's really enticing and exciting for those who maybe they've ventured away or maybe they just haven't thought about joining yet?
When you say retention, are you talking about the members for the Rattler Booster organization?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Like I said, the last 4 or 5 weeks, what I've been doing, and some of my folks on the board have told me you can't do it all, and I recognize that. Um, this is not the first time I've been in a position where I'm leadership, whatever you want to call it. I know I can't do it all, but I know this. When I became the president, I looked at some things like retention. We have membership lists um, from our treasurer, our membership coordinator, and, and our technology organization. And all of the data was not, it was not succinct. We might have had some uh, data on someone's email address in one list and someone's telephone number in another. So for the last 4 weeks, what I've been doing is consolidating those three lists. But I was taking the information from one and another, putting it in one that was consolidated. But what I also started to do is picking up my cell phone and calling the members and asking them to verify the information. Now, that serves two purposes. One is we want to be able, and I say we, me, but we want to be able to have valid information so that we can send out a newsletter, a report to all Rattler boosters at least monthly. And we can do that electronically only if we have valid email addresses or cell phone numbers. We also want to send out a quarterly newsletter, but you can't do that if you don't have correct contact information. So for 4 weeks, I've called a whole lot of Rattler boosters to verify that we've got good information. There are some that we don't have any information at all. So once I finish this process, which should be done very shortly, and when I say very shortly, within the next day or so, if we got a telephone number and an email address, um, or if we don't have a telephone number and email address, we're going to send out a letter to those members, and hopefully they'll respond with their contact information for a valid email. That will help us to let them know here's what we did last month, here's what we did last quarter. So folks won't be able to say, I don't hear from the Rattler boosters. That's a valid concern that people have, but we don't have any way of contacting them if we have invalid information. So that's a big priority that I'm going to finish after about 4 weeks in the next day or so. Um, and then we can retain members, because when your membership it lapses, If we got valid information, we can pick up the phone and make a personal phone call, and we can give them a reason why they should return to us as a member. But I ain't too proud to beg. I'm gonna ask every one of you all that are out there to ask your family members and your friends. Most of our members in the Rattler Booster organizations are members of the National Alumni Association, the F Club, the 220 organization. I think that we all to support contacting our members personally and asking them, will you rejoin and will you ask somebody else? And that's the way we keep the Rattlers as an organization that grows.
Okay. And you mentioned the relationship with the National Alumni Association and the boosters there. Is that we know normally you have the yearly National Alumni Association conference and meeting where all the people and delegates come from around really around the country normally, and a lot of times from around the state and attend that event. At that event, we normally see where there's a state of the athletic department and things like that. Do you know? And I asked the question, so this isn't a critique, but do you know if Rattler Boosters will be given a platform to be able to speak there? Because we'll see our athletic director there more than likely, right? But is there going to be a chance where we can extend that membership at the National Alumni Association event or activities so that the two groups are continuing to work in unison?
One month after I was installed in this position, the president of the NAA was coming here to FAMU for graduation ceremonies in December. I reached out to her and I told her I just recently been installed, and she informed me she was coming. And we set up a meeting a luncheon meeting, and we talked for about an hour and a half. It is my desire to make sure that we have a union between the organizations. We support the same students, whether they're academic students or athletic students. Almost all of the Rattler booster members are members of the NAA. And I wanted to express to Miss Artisha Pope that we would like to get some of the NAA members that are not booster members to join the boosters. Uh, that being said, I got an email a couple of weeks ago from Miss Mary Smith, who is the NAA Florida Region Vice President. And she invited me to come down on March 6th. And she offered me the opportunity to talk to all of the chapters in the state of Florida. And I asked my wife if I could borrow some money so I could go down there, and she declined. So I got to take some money out of my account. But yes, I'm going down and I'm going to solicit that the NAA chapters in the state of Florida, as Rattler boosters, are members of their organizations, that they support us. And I do believe, yeah, I haven't gone yet, but I believe that I will be well received and they will support us because they want the Rattlers to win in every sport. I'm very optimistic that they will support us. But yes, we as boosters, yes, we're reaching out to those sister organizations that we have.
Okay, okay. And EA, nobody took it any kind of way. We understand, man. We are we love FAMU genuinely, right? And I will drop one more question and I will let Mr. Ansley go. I don't want to hold him too long. But we have a new athletic director. happen to know of him. I don't know him, but I know of him. But so far, as your time and his time as athletic director, not very far apart between your presidency and his time as the athletic director. How has that been as far as the transition, as far as the relationship between the National Alumni Association, and really the Rattler Boosters, more so importantly in this case, and AD Davis?
When AD Davis was announced with Quinn Gray at the press conference, I think it was on January 5th, I introduced myself to him. I've known Quinn Gray for a little while, and I requested a meeting with him, and I told him, just like he had just been recently installed, so had I. And I requested a meeting with him with the FAMU Rattler Booster Executive Board. And he was gracious enough to say then, and I didn't want to prolong that press conference meeting because he had a lot of people that wanted his attention. I said, well, let's get back together. And we have in the last couple of weeks, and we haven't actually set a firm date, but within the last 3 weeks, he and I have talked each of those 3 weeks. And as recently as Thursday, he said, Mr. Ansley, he came over to me at the basketball game and he said, Mr. Ansley, we're going to make this happen. And I'm going to call him on Tuesday or send him an email to ask, well, what date? But yes, I want my executive board to meet. We are the only DSO in Florida at Florida A&M that support Rattler athletics, and I think that it's important for him to talk to us because we are helping. We are not funding totally athletic. We're the biggest supporter of athletics of all of the organizations that lend money to this cause. So yes, we're going to have a meeting, and I'm going to really be pushing him to have this meeting much sooner than later. This is February. My goal is to have this meeting by the first week in March. Hopefully that will happen. But I like AD Davis because he comes to me at every basketball game. And I thought, golly, he knows who I am.
That's important, isn't it? Well, before
Yes, it
we,
is. I really like him because
oh no, go ahead and finish, Mr. Ansley.
I was saying I like him because his personality is one that's inviting. Um, and I've been pretty patient because he has a much bigger job than I have. And I know he's got a lot to learn because this is his first job as an athletic director. So I've been patient, but I do think that it's very important that we meet pretty soon because we've got some things that we want to share with him that will help the athletic department.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, any parting words for our for yourself or anything at all, Mr. Ansley? Any invitations you want to extend for those who are so inclined to want to join Rattler Boosters?
Yes, I would ask. You know, when I've been giving to Florida A&M University since 1978, when Dr. Mobley um, selected me to be one of 5 students in FBI to interview for IBM. And my GPA was not as high as the 4 that she selected in that group. But I got selected to do an internship above the other 4. And afterwards, I got hired by IBM. And I asked Dr. Mobley, hey, Doc, why is it that you selected me and there were students that had higher GPAs than me. And she said to me, "Well, Mr. Ansley, you have a gift to gab." I didn't know what it meant, but she explained it to me. And I asked her after I went on the internship and I came back and IBM hired me. I asked her, "Doc, what do I have to do?" Because I was so appreciative for the internship and I didn't feel that worthy. So what do I have to do? And she said, "Give back to FAMU." In 1978, I made $28,000. I was the richest guy in my family. And she said, "What you have to do is give $1,000 back to the School of Business and Industry, and IBM will match it with $2,000. Since July of 20, I'm sorry, since July of 1978, I've never done less than that, and I haven't missed a dime of it. And yes, I've switched and given money now, not to SBI, but to athletics a lot more. So, my parting words is this to you all: it doesn't matter how much you make, it doesn't matter how many bills you have, but each one of us can give something. And I ask you to give something, even if it's $1.50. But I surely want you to join the Rattler Boosters. So thank you all for listening to me, and let's go Rattlers.
I appreciate it, Mr. Ansley. Look, y'all will probably see Mr. Ansley if his health allows him to be in the stands for the next home game. I promise you, you will not miss him. He will be in the stands somewhere where you will be able to see him. And got a quick question before you go. What can current Rattler boosters do to assist you with your target to increase the membership to 500 plus by the end of April?
Join, rejoin, and ask your family and friends to join. And don't take no for an answer. We are the only folk that can keep this organization alive. The state of Florida isn't going to donate a dime. We're going to ask some corporations, but we must keep this organization. And when I say organization, I'm not talking about the boosters. I'm talking about Rattler Athletics. Give. And don't, when I ask some people to give, my grandmama used to say, yeah, when you ask people to give, sometimes they beat you to pull mouth. That means they start telling you about their bills. Give something. Even if you don't join, just donate something. I had a niece that donated $6 in January. Boy, I was so overjoyed about that $6 as I was about a guy that gave 500. Give something and stop looking for any excuses not to. I love you all, and just remember this: all snakes ain't rattlers.
And I appreciate Mr. Ansley. Oh man, look, we just had a legend on the show, man. Zach Ansley. And again, part of the reason we had it on, I had the call lines ready, but y'all seem like y'all got the questions in the chat. But I wanted to make sure y'all heard from Rattler Boosters, the voice of Rattler Boosters. Y'all see he's on G, he's with me. Matter of fact, he was like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Hey, I kind of fit in with everybody here." So but we want to make sure y'all hear from it because it's that time where tax time is coming, tax season is coming. Some of y'all making your decisions. I'll be honest with y'all. If you can't give to and have a share with a friend, give the gift of Rattler boosters. Give the gift of the National Alumni Association. I will tell you, there's no better feeling as a FAMUan when your mom or your parent is, blessing you for Christmas or your birthday, and then you look up and it's like, oh, you paid my dues. I appreciate that. I know I was about to pay them myself, but you paid my dues. So, if you can, definitely do that. And look forward for more to come. Just think this is a new administration. Mr. Ansley, he's not new to this as far as being with an affiliate with Rattler Boosters. So he's been there for a while. He also has the vice president, friend of the show, William Human, is the vice president for Rattler Boosters. So you have some experience there, and you got some good people there, man. So some good times, and a good guest, man. So definitely appreciate it. We're gonna reach back out, Dennis. I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna text you on Monday because I'm waiting to see if some of these other folks can come on, and I cannot get in trouble. But look, y'all, we had a good day today, right? Rattler's track blew it up again. Thursdays, we're taking a couple weeks off just to kind of let folks reset, let y'all enjoy Rattler basketball. A couple games left, and so we can also kind of enjoy it ourselves and enjoy some of our family and friends that we got some family stuff going on too. Y'all know families first. So we taking care of some of that stuff too. But next Sunday, we'll be right back here, and I'm gonna see if I can get one of these coaches on. If not, I got the recruiting thing lined up. We're gonna start back tracking the recruits, and we got a basketball recruit that has been offered. So we're gonna be doing our graphics on those, getting those dropped back up in there, and get ready to get excited for the season. So look, Rattlers, get excited. Orange and Green game is coming. All right, y'all. So for everybody here at HBCU Digital Network, looking forward to seeing y'all next Sunday. Next Sunday, we'll be right back here, and y'all already know what's up. What's always gonna be. Thanks up.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started. Are you kidding me? Unreal!
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Does he have it? Yes, he does!